Hi, it's Jane with Scraptastic Yarns. I'm glad you joined me. Let me finish up this row. I have now nicknamed the My Comfiest Knit Cardigan to my Never Gonna Be Finished cardigan, simply because I just keep running out of time. I was hoping to be able to have it finished so I could take it on the cruise. Cruise happens in 2 weeks. That's not happening. And while we're speaking of the cruise, let me tell you about my issue with my passport. I had a passport years and years ago and let it last. It hadn't gone anywhere, so figured there was no need to have it. So then I decided, okay, now I want this for the cruise. Started doing all the process for it. You know, I was told I had to do it like it was brand new. Now, this is going through my local post office, which supposedly, does the photo, does the whole 9 yards, whatnot. So I did all that, followed through, and I told her I would like this to be expedited, and she told me no, can't be expedited unless you're flying out of internationally in 14 days. I said, but that's not what the State Department website actually says. But she refused to let me do it. This is Postmaster. And so, I'm like, okay, fine. And she said, besides, your passport will be back in plenty of time. Well, it should have been back here 2 weeks ago. Not here yet. So, I'm kind of panicking because, number one, since she did it as a brand new passport, which I don't understand that, I had to send my original birth certificate. So, and if any of you watched Billy's Hookers on the High Sea with Naomi about that, Naomi was saying you need the official with the race seal. However, I did call Carnival and double checked, and no, you do not need the race sealed, but it has to be a legible copy that has no ink smears on it. That's all. And I got the person's name, everything, and the number of the policy on it as well on the back. So, no, you don't have to have the race sealed. Which, I'm like, okay, well, at least I know I can get on the ship. And then I thought, that's not right that it's not been back here yet. So I called my local government person to ask about it. And they said, well, what's your location number? The woman never gave me a location number for it to begin with. There were a lot of things that she didn't do that she should have done. So we filed a claim with the State Department complaining about that maybe she needs to be re-educated, that kind of thing, about that stuff. And the State Department has notified me, yes, you can certainly expedite it. You don't have to be flying out of international, 14 days. So what they're doing is they are looking for it. They have found it, and they will be expediting it this week, supposedly. Of course, to do that now, I have to also pay an additional next day delivery, which that's no big deal. But my problem is with this current administration, according to the person I talked to at the State Department, passports are anywhere from 8 to 12 months behind from the time that you go in, do the application. 6 months if you're renewing. So, if any of you are planning a trip within the next year out of the country and need a passport, by all means do it now. And do the expedited version. Alright. Now let's move on to items. This is the cardigan. This is still the back. I'm still working on it. Like I said, I've nicknamed it my Never Gonna Finish Afghan or cardigan. I will finish it. It's probably going to be oh, I don't know, Christmas 2024. Who knows? I did get 2 more of the petals made for the pillow. Now, the other thing is, let me find my little thing here. My local hospital, UPMC, every year they call and they ask me to do things for the mothers and babies. And, you know, I usually do that. This time they waited till this week. So, what they've asked for are baby booties because they are doing a 5K run and they're focusing that 5K run. Now, this is the only color gray that I had. Their colors are gray and purple, which, you know, whatever. And that purple is a Walmart's brand, you know, the mainstays purple. But I decided that I would like to do it in a lighter gray. And what I would like to do is do the bottom part in the purple with the lighter gray on top with purple laces. There, you know, you just make a little chain, lace it up. So that's what I'm planning on. And, you know, I have a couple days to get those done and get them to them because they always do it, you know. Mother's Day, I think, falls while I'm on the cruise or flying back from the cruise. I can't remember, something like that. So, and I won't have time to get it to them for their photo ops. So, you know, my plan is to get them done before this week, then get them up there next week to them. Now, you remember that blanket that I was working on? And I am finished putting it all together. And I did do knit and crochet together. And I really like the way that this came out. Now, I only did a half double crochet border around the whole thing. Thought about doing something else for a border, but just decided that it just wasn't worth it. You know, it's already big enough as it is. It's 8 squares by 8 squares. And it's nice size Afghan. Let me get it folded in half so you can see. So here's my arm length here. And it's about 1.5 arm lengths, so that's plenty big enough for an Afghan to go onto someone's lap. Now, with the prayer shawl ministry, they are planning on doing the making squares each month. And while at the prayer shawl meeting, which is not something we've normally done before, so then there are 2 of us that are going to be putting those together. One of the other gals is going to sew hers together, which she's going to sew it with, she said, upholstery thread and clear thread. I'm like, okay. You know, I wouldn't do it that way, but apparently she wants to do it that way, so which is fine. If it turns out fine, I don't think it'll hold up, but, you know, whatever. But then some of the girls are making squares at home and then bringing them in, so we should be able to get each of us an Afghan each month out of those squares, plus, you know, whatever they make during the meeting. The meeting in the past has always provided a lunch. We're no longer providing a lunch because the person that is in the kitchen has had a lot of hip and back pain. So we've stopped doing that. There, you know, if you come to the prayer shawl meeting, you're more than welcome to bring your own meal, that kind of thing. So we're changing things up a little bit. Next month is my last month as being coordinator of this prayer shawl ministry. Sorry about the phone, folks. I don't know what it is. When I get filming, everybody starts texting and emailing. Okay, it's all right. But anyway, that is what I'm up to right now. I did find another Afghan that I wanted to start. I've downloaded it and pulled the the yarn for it. And I'm thinking, Jane, you got 2 projects. Actually, you've got 5 or 6 sitting over there that you could be working on. You got to get a new one? What's wrong with you? And then I thought, well, I need something that's fairly small for the ship. So, yeah. You know, what can I say? I'm crazy like that. Maybe I'll take some knitting needles and just make some hats. I don't know. Still trying to decide what I'm going to do there. Baby hats, I could do those. So, yeah. But anyway, I just thought you might find that interesting. Now, I am planning on this Wednesday doing a live auction of the bags that are currently in the shop. I'm going to pull them off of Etsy. And I am going to put the shop on hiatus until after I get back from my cruise. But I will be doing, like I said, Wednesday 8 o'clock, I will be doing a live auction for you so that you can, purchase those. That way, if you want to. Like I said, the prices are going to start $25. That's going to include the shipping to get it to you. The only other thing is if you buy more than one, I will add $3 shipping to the invoice. And I will be doing that through Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal. So, yeah. Hope you will join me for that. That's this coming Wednesday, tomorrow night. So, yeah. I want to get rid of that inventory so that when I get started sewing, the inventory will be fresh, it'll be new, and I don't have to worry about toting it from here to the new house. The house. They have paved the driveway. They have also done the patio. I think I showed you the patio, the back walk, and they've done the front walk back to the driveway. We are now looking at whether to put topsoil, grass seed, or topsoil and turf. Did talk with my brother-in-law, and he suggested not doing the turf unless they guarantee the turf. He said basically because with turf you really needed a irrigation system so that it can be watered, because you've got to water it like at least every 3 days. If you're hot and in a drought, it probably needs to be watered every other day. So I'm really thinking about just planting grass and letting it go as it will. And cabinets are going in this week. They're putting in doors, finishing up trim, and the floors as well. I think that's about it. I'm going to videotape later this week once cabinets are in. And, yeah, we'll kind of go from there. So, that is basically the updates on all of that. And, now let's get into a little what in Tarnation. Mostly animals. You know I love the animals. They make me laugh unless there's a really strange story. Then I'll give you a strange story. 6 baby raccoons rescued from Pennsylvania Creek. Pennsylvania police officer came to the rescue of 6 baby raccoons he found in a creek after their tree fell over. The Lower Windsor Township Police Department said in a release that Officer Sean Lake was dispatched to Schmuck Road to follow up on reports of downed trees and power lines in the area. Lake heard unusual sounds coming from a nearby creek and discovered 6 baby raccoons in the water with no mother in sight. Lake, who formerly worked for Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, said he knew the raccoon parents would be unlikely to return since once the med-ed crews arrived to repair the down line, so he plucked the babies from the creek. They're just innocent little babies. They had no one to help them, protect them. It was the least he could do. He said the minute he started picking them up, they were purring. Raccoons are cute when they purr. The babies spent the night in a box at Lake's home before he gave them a lift the next day to the Red Creek Wildlife Center in Schuylkill County. And yes, there is video. Dog takes 30-mile ride in engine compartment of a car. Small dog climbed into the engine compartment of a car in Kansas, ended up taking a 30-mile ride with the oblivious driver to Missouri. Gary Gillespie, a digital reporter and host for Kansas City Royals, said she arrived at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City and heard whimpering coming from another vehicle in the parking lot. Royals Charities coordinator Ashley Newman, the owner of the car, was summoned to the parking lot. She's rushing to unlock the car hood poppet, and they looked for a few seconds, and sure enough, there were two little eyeballs just looking up at us. Team of co-workers, including the Royals' lead mechanical technician, Dennis Miller, set about the task of safely extracting the dog from her tight spot. We were able to take the under trim off and get her free. It was a huge relief. I have a dog of my own, and I was thinking how it would feel if she went missing. The canine was taken to the Kansas City Pet Project, and Newman took to Facebook to find out if anyone near her home was missing a dog. They found a post about a dog that matched the canine's description and was able to help the Johnson County, Kansas resident reunite with their pet. She is relieved the dog's story had a happy ending. She went on a 30-minute commute with me to work and I didn't even know it. It's one of those stories that unless you have video, I don't know if anyone would ever believe it. This next video, it's a TikTok video that you see. It's awful cute. Sheep spends hours trying to enter a Connecticut home. Sheep wandered up to a Connecticut man's front door and spent hours waiting to be let inside the house, the residents said. Eric Cormier said he was getting ready to leave for work when he spotted a sheep in the middle of his South Windsor road. Cormier said he went outside to take a photo of the sheep, and the animal immediately started running for his front door. He said he went back inside, closed the door, leading the sheep to plant itself on his front porch. He posted the video to TikTok showing the sheep blocking the front door and making a grunt-like noise that he interpreted as a request to be let inside. Cormier and his girlfriend, Megan DaCosta, called animal control and were told officers were trying to find the sheep's owner as they did not have an appropriate facility to keep the barnyard animal. He said the sheep remained at his front door for hours, so when he was about to leave for work, he tried to lure the animal into the backyard. He said the key to getting the sheep around to the back of the house turned out to be letting his Labrador into the yard, which caused the sheep to go around back to make friends with its four-legged animal. Aunt Cormier said he let the dog inside and the sheep then positioned himself at his back door. The sheep was still in the same spot when he came home on his break to check on the animal. Animal control eventually arrived after 9 p.m. to take the sheep home to its farm on Nevers Road in South Windsor. Now, I'm not real sure how Bobcat got stuck in the grill, but okay. Stuck Bobcat rescued from front grill of Wisconsin car. Deputies in Wisconsin helped with the rescue of a bobcat found trapped in the front grill of a driver's car. Portage County Sheriff Mike Lucas said in a Facebook post that numerous deputies were curious when they heard a dispatch call about a man who said, "I have a bobcat in my car." 3 deputies arrived on the scene and found the bobcat stuck in the front grille of the vehicle. A Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources warden was summoned to the scene and pulled the bobcat from its predicament. It was unclear whether the bobcat had been struck by the car or if it had climbed into the front grille on its own. But Lucas said the animal was not seriously injured and was returned to the wild. Bears, they love to break into cars. Here's one that did. Sugar-craving bear breaks into car, drinks 69 cans of soda. 69. Wow. A British Columbia woman captured photos and video when a bear made a late night visit to her home and raided 69 cans of soda from her car. Sharon Russell said her dog woke her up at Earl's Cove home at about 3 a.m. She looked outside to see a bear had shattered one of her car windows and was helping itself to the cans of soda she had purchased for her business. He was drinking massive amounts of soda. She snapped photos as the thirsty Bruin made its way through 69 of the 72 cans soft drinks she had stored overnight in her car. She said the bear seemed particularly interested in Orange Crush, but gave up after sampling some diet cans. Can you imagine? Ooh, no, this is nasty. Russell said the damage to her car included ripped leather, a broken window roller, and sticky residue everywhere. Of course, white interior goes really good with Orange Crush, she said. She is hoping her insurance company will pay for some of the damage. Roselle said she's always careful not to leave food or trash in her car overnight, but she had not expected the cans of soda would attract her Bruin's attention. I never thought it could smell pop through a can. Who knew? Mystery spiral in Alaska sky was likely SpaceX rocket fuel. A mysterious spiral caught on camera above the northern lights in Alaska was likely the result of fuel being released from a SpaceX rocket, an expert said. The spiral was caught on camera by Todd Salat, aka the Aurora Hunter, while he was photographing the northern lights just before 2 a.m. southeast of Fairbanks. Elizabeth Withnall also posted photos of the strange sight she encountered while watching the lights from northwestern part of state. Don Hampton, a research associate professor at the University of Alaska Fairbanks Geophysical Institute, told the Anchorage Daily News the spiral appears to be rocket engine exhaust from a SpaceX Transporter 7 mission that launched on the Falcon 9 about 3 hours earlier in California. Water vapor in the exhaust from the second stage engine freezes and catches high-altitude sunlight, effectively glowing and creating this spiral galaxy of a display. And that is it for today's podcast. Oh, sometimes you just amazes you, the things that you see, right? All right, and now it's time for today's devotional. This comes from Amazing Grace. Walking in works. We are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand so that we would walk in them. This comes from Ephesians 2, verse 10, in the North American Standard Bible. God has always had a plan for your life. And boy, sometimes that's hard to remember, isn't it? He created, designed, and brought you into being. He has gifted you with talents, nurtured you, and developed character in you as you have matured. You are His wonderful workmanship. God knew from the beginning how to uniquely design you to empower you to do good works. Best of all, He created in you Christ Jesus, whose redemption and healing on the cross gave you all the grace that you need to walk in His ways. What does walking in grace look like to you? All right, guys, that is it for today's podcast. As always, be kind to one another, love one another, get out there and see this big, beautiful world we live in. And hopefully I'll see you Wednesday. All right. Bye.